Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's official, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is back at Manchester United, confirmed by the club and any media that you want to read about. It's official, it's not a major shock, it's not really been kept a secret to be honest, but are we happy about it? Because ultimately, yes, I am. Deja vu, a year ago we signed him, and I think it's important to remember when we signed him a year ago, there were doubters, but it was a 2-year plan with Zlatan that got cut short because of injury. But as he said in his comeback speech, unfinished business at Manchester United. He's here for another year. The original plan was 2 years, so we probably shouldn't psychologically divert ourselves from that and be positive about it. 36 in October, but we knew that when we got him a year ago. 28 goals last season, massive experience, still arguably one of the best strikers in world football, and a big bonus for Manchester United, who do need experience, they do need big characters. The importance of him not overshadowing what has been a fantastic start to the season, of course, is something to discuss, but we are only 2 games into this season at the moment, and by the time Zlatan's back fit to play, which could be the end of October, who knows where we'll be. That's the point to have the debate about whether Zlatan plays every week, whether Zlatan takes the free kicks, whether Zlatan's going to make teams play a high line because he's not quick. Don't really need to have those discussions at the moment. Now is the time for the positive side of what Zlatan brings, and that is a goal every other game, guaranteed, and a leader, 6'5", absolute colossal, brick wall, experience. He brings the lot and unfinished business at Manchester United. So I don't really think there is a negative to this deal. He costs nothing. Most clubs in world football in the top leagues would take Zlatan for nothing as a backup option, which effectively he is at the moment because he can't play anyway. If we really needed a striker, then we'd probably go out and buy a striker right now. We don't need a striker. What we need is a backup option later on in the season, and that's what Zlatan is. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks. He is a backup option because if we needed a striker, we'd go and buy one right now. He may not be fit until November time. So what an option that is, what an experience he brings. He knows the club inside out, so there's not a risk. He actually did play most of last season and scored a lot of goals. So he knows the club, he knows the league, it's not a risk. Only risk is his injury, which he seems to be working miracles on. We already spoke last night on the Leicester preview about how at the moment we can't play Rashford on the right, Martial on the left and Lukaku up front in a front 3 because we've got no option off the bench to bring on up front. As soon as Zlatan's fit, we can do that if we want to because you've got Zlatan on the bench. So it gives us an option. We know we're short up front. Very positive on all levels in relation to Zlatan and what he is doing for us. Dare to Zlatan, says Tracy Jordan. I agree. Another player going to be benched, says Roshan. Well, look, I'll touch on it. Thanks, well done to everyone who did one on their GCSEs. For those who didn't, as I said before, don't get too stressed about it. I did rubbish. Look at me now. As I said this morning, now I drive the school bus. Good Simpsons quote there. Look, if you want me to touch on what the potential issues of Zlatan are, of course. He shouldn't play every week. Last season he played every week, even in the League Cup games. Mourinho never subbed him and he played every week, and that made teams play very high lines against us, which meant the midfield got very compact and it made it very difficult for our wide and attacking midfielders like Mkhitaryan, Pogba, Martial and Rashford to impact in games because there was no space. Of course, Zlatan playing every week would be a problem. He also took free kicks every week, which again was a problem for us because he can't take free kicks. But I can't see that happening. We've spent £75 million on Lukaku. I don't think Lukaku's going to suddenly dry up of goals. So Lukaku plays up front. There's no way on God's earth Lukaku and Zlatan can play as a front 2. Nope. Cannot happen. Will not happen. Doesn't work. Football's moved on from the 4-4-2. So he effectively comes in as a backup option. Whether he'll end up starting games, I'm sure he probably will start over Lukaku at times. Different games, different means. I mean, arguably, I look back to the West Brom game at Old Trafford last season. I think it was early April, late March. Zlatan was out suspended. West Brom parked the bus. And we missed that sort of, you know, when a team is inviting you to the edge of the box, put crosses in. Zlatan's perfect in a game that parks the bus because his pace isn't required. Zlatan's a problem when a team plays a high line and dares to do that, which we've got options if he does that anyway. So I think Zlatan would start games. I think Zlatan would be useful off the bench in the last 10 minutes of games or last 20 minutes of games against teams who are parking the bus against us. It's an interesting problem for Mourinho to have, but as I said, it's not really a discussion for now because he's not fit anyway. He's not going to disrupt the great start we've had. He's not going to disrupt all this space that Lukaku is creating by pushing defensive lines back. It's not a problem for now. Is it a problem in the future? I don't know. Mourinho loves Zlatan. He played him every week last year. He can't do that. He can do that, but it'd be wrong to do that. Zlatan has to be back up. But what if Lukaku gets injured? If Lukaku gets injured and we played Zlatan every week, we will face the problems we had last year, which is a high line. But Mourinho's a genius. He knows far more about football than me and you, so he should be aware of that high line and how it makes us a very boring side to watch. So I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's a positive. To get a player of his quality for free will be massively beneficial to Manchester United. Not to mention the influence he'll have on the dressing room. We've lost that influence with Rooney, who probably wasn't performing on the pitch to the standard he wanted to, but Zlatan did perform on the pitch, and what a player he is. Andrew Malloy says we're getting some serious squad depth now. Cartilli says Anthony Martial's not even in the French squad. I'm happy. I said that last night. Should he be in the French squad? Of course he should. Is Didier Deschamps a clown? Yes, he is. Do Manchester United benefit from Martial not being on international duty? 100%. So I'm not bothered about that. If Martial's bothered, I feel sorry for him, but from our point of view, not bothered. Ryan McSwiggan says he's feeling exciting. Edwin Castro says Deschamps is a clown. Zlatan in place of Mata. Zlatan to play in the number 10 position, says Luke Crocker. He is getting the number 10 shirt. So that's one position filled where people are like, who's going to be number 10? It's going to be him. So number 7 stays vacant for another year potentially. Theon Curtin, our attacking options have been boosted. Ali Akbar's happy. Fantastic signing, says Michael. Over the moon, says Anthony Corley. Zlatan can't start for the league. I'm happy for the cup game, says Ching Huao. We'll discuss this when he's back fit and up and running, and not before. I think for the moment, it's positive. The biggest positive that makes this possible is his inhuman recovery from that injury, which is fantastic. I mean, it was a bad knee injury, and he could be back playing within 6 months. He's been confounding the critics. Even I said he won't kick a ball before Christmas, but a lot of experts said that in relation to recovery levels are amazing. It will help Lukaku, says Andrew Malloy. Look, the one thing Zlatan is good at is controlling the ball, build-up play, laying it off. It'll be massively beneficial to Lukaku's career, and Rashford and Martial. They are all very young, and to have an experienced, one of the best strikers of the last decade at the club, massively important. There's talk about him taking on a coaching role, which would be unbelievable in a positive way. If we could just get Perisic, says Saif, we'd have the best squad in the country. We still need a winger. I still really want us to get a winger. I want it to be Perisic. Spoke about it this morning. I really hope we can do it. Martial left, Lukaku up top, and Rashford on the right, says Marco. It allows that to happen if we've got Zlatan on the bench. Good backup, says Maher. Why don't we play Rashford right and Martial left, says Ali Aftab. I'd love to see it happen, but at the moment we don't have the bench depth to do it. Does this mean we're finished in the transfer window, says Max Barter. I'm not totally convinced that it does. I still think if we can get a winger in, that would be golden in relation to the squad we have. I want a natural winger into this squad. And he's back home, says Kino, which I agree. He should have come 6 years ago, says Jose2045. You know, he's done a good job. There's a lot of people happy. Shane Round's super happy. I'm very happy about it. Will his ego let him be a backup striker, says John Sherrill. Well, to be honest with you, John, that is a good point. And Manchester United and Jose Mourinho should have had that discussion with him. If they've promised him things that are unrealistic to our success ambition, which is you can play every week, then that's a failing on the club. If they've said to him, we want you, but you are not first choice, you are backup unless you can force your way in and adapt to the way we're playing at the moment, and Zlatan still said yes, fantastic. There should be no expectation that Zlatan is first choice, playing every week, and the club would be very stupid to allow that to happen. Because I'll be totally honest with you, I'll be a hypocrite to go back on what I've said the first 2 games of the season. Zlatan is a better player than Lukaku, but Lukaku fits Manchester United way better than Zlatan because Yes, Zlatan's the better player, but Lukaku's got the better attributes for the way that suits us as a team. That power, yes, Zlatan's got it, but it's the pace to push the centre-backs of the opposition right back to the edge of their box, where Zlatan, they were pushing him back to the right to the edge of the centre circle and compressing our attackers. Lukaku opens up that space in the attacks defensive, in the opposition's half, for the likes of Pogba, Mkhitaryan, Martial, Rashford, Mata, and that is why we're scoring so many goals. You put Zlatan in that team instead of Lukaku for the first 2 games of the season, I don't think we'd have scored more than 2 goals in those games, because how would we hurt the opposition? How would we hurt them? But I can't be more positive about him coming to the club. I cannot be more positive. That one master says that he thinks Lukaku is better than Ibra. That is a debate to have, I suppose, in a way. Who is better? I'm not going to say who's better. I still think Zlatan's a better footballer. I just think Lukaku suits us better in relation to what his attributes bring to you know, you can have the better individual. Messi's a better individual than most players in world football. But would Messi bring to Manchester United what Lukaku does? No. So it's not just about how good the individual is. It's about what that individual's attributes bring to Manchester United. Lukaku's attributes that Messi and Zlatan don't have bring the best out of people like Pogba and Mkhitaryan, because he creates space. I've said this so many times about Lukaku. It's not really what he does on the ball. I mean, putting the ball in the back of the net's very important. But what he does off the ball to create space, Messi couldn't do that. Zlatan couldn't do that. And I know there'll be people saying, you can't say you want Lukaku over Messi. I'm not saying I want Lukaku over Messi. What I'm saying is, in relation to what Lukaku does and how well we're playing at the moment, Messi would bring other things, but he wouldn't do what Lukaku does. And Zlatan couldn't do that last year. You look how suppressed Pogba was, how Mkhitaryan struggled. Lukaku's been very, very positive for us. But as I said, we don't need to worry about it at the moment, because Zlatan's not fit till the end of October. And if these players that we've currently got keep doing what they're doing, as if we're top of the league by the end of October by 4, 5, 6 points, and we're scoring lots of goals and we're defensively sound, it'd be a very odd decision by Mourinho to say, sorry Lukaku, you're on the bench now, I've got Zlatan back. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's going to be a bench player, and if he comes on off the bench and starts scoring loads of goals, then you'd have to say, like Martial and Rashford, should Zlatan start next game? But he certainly shouldn't be given the comforts he was given last year, which is you will start every game, you are the focal point. Any news on Draxler's move, says Ibra, not at the moment. If Zlatan plays in the number 10 role with Lukaku creating the space, could that work? I wouldn't want Zlatan at the number 10 position at all. I mean, come on. Mkhitaryan's 10 times the number 10 Zlatan is. Zlatan's career is built around being an absolute colossal as a number 9 goal scorer. We are not going down the road with Zlatan that we went down with Rooney, where, yeah, you're no good as a number 9 anymore, so let's adapt you into a midfielder. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Mkhitaryan is infinitely better than Zlatan because he's quicker, he's more intricate, he's more skillful. Zlatan can play that role as a push if you want to get 2 players who are tall on and get him to play as the number 10. Of course, tactically, different games, different requirements, but certainly not taking Mkhitaryan's spot, not for me. Ali Akbar, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for that. The Sun is doing really well. Salmon, thank you for that. How many goals will Zlatan score? Hard to say, because he's only going to get just over half a season, and he probably won't play every week. But if you can get 10 double figures straight away, that's good. Mark Law says reports say he's took a large pay cut, which is great. Perisic would be ideal to whip in the crosses. We should get him, says Jan Sherrill. Yeah, now we've got another tall 6'5" player. It makes it more and more important that we get somebody who can put the ball into the box. What a fantastic comment that is by Mark Law. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. We're back tonight at 8 o'clock with Skype Goldbridge, funny enough, and what a good day it is to do it. So you can all call in, give us your thoughts on Zlatan back, good or bad. 8 o'clock tonight, it's your show. Do not miss it. That's what the United Stand's all about. We've also got the Champions League draw at 5 o'clock. I'm not going live for that. We'll cover that at 8 o'clock in more depth in relation to the teams. You can call in and give us your thoughts. We're live tonight at 8 o'clock. Thanks everyone for watching. United have completed a signing. Really, really happy with it. Denia Sports Fan Channel says Lukaku had 29 goals. Zlatan had 28 goals. Now we have them both. That means every position is covered, and none of our players will be tired at the end of the season. Really good comment from them. Thanks for watching, everybody. Speak to you all very soon. Have a fantastic afternoon. United have signed Zlatan. This is getting good for United. We've got some squad depth, experience. It's a positive. Call tonight at 8 o'clock. Give us your thoughts. It's Skype Goldbridge tonight. Unscripted. You call in. You call the shots. Thanks for watching.